Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. Survivors of the Nyanya multiple road crash who escaped death by the whiskers Thursday night have recounted how grace and luck brought them out of the fatal accident. Our correspondent, Abdullahi Ajia, who stumbled on the incident, reports now on the situation.
Nyanya was a location of a scene of tragedy to behold Thursday night as a moving truck descending from Kubo was said to have failed brake, crashing on about 9 vehicles before stopping at the Nyanya pedestrian bridge, with many persons fatally injured.
Assuming the driver was even blowing on that his car has failed brake, most of us could have dodged him and find a way to escape from him. But he didn't blow any horn. He was just coming, just hitting, and I was the first he hit at the back.
For hours, sympathizers and emergency responders assisted on the rescue and evacuation of victims. Observers say authorities need to sanitize the Nyanya road corridors, which have been turned into night markets, in order to forestall future occurrence. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Corps Marshal Dauda Alibiu has expressed deep shock over the incident as he commiserates with the entire management and staff of the Corps over the loss of its personnel. The Corps tow truck driver who was towing a broken-down trailer from the crash scene. In a statement by Assistant Corps Marshal Corps Public Education Officer BC Kazim says investigation into the crash revealed that a total of 4 people were involved. 3 sustained different degrees of injuries, while 1 person, the Corps tow truck driver, was killed. Only the 2 vehicles, the truck and the FRSC tow truck, were involved. The court martial prayed for the soul of the deceased to rest in peace and directed immediate evacuation of every obstruction caused as a result of the crash. The federal government has taken steps towards reviewing the contractual agreement signed with contractors handling federal roads in Ogun State and delivering a new beginning of critical infrastructure development for Nigerians under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. Minister of Works and that is David Umahi stated this in Abuja during his working visit to Ogun State. Let's hear more from Yemi Dalemo.
The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi's visit to Ogun State is to have first-hand information on the state of the federal roads in the area. Governor Dapo Abiodun, while briefing the minister, expressed displeasure over the deplorable condition of federal roads in the state.
We just want to implore you to help us look at this long list of roads that we have. Understand, Terry, you've done this before. There's no this is not a trial and error for you.
Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, assured that a new beginning in critical infrastructure development in Nigeria is here under the Tinubu-led administration, and informed that the federal government will review all agreements signed with the contractors handling various federal roads across the state with a view to deliver quality road infrastructure.
Also authoritatively introduce concrete road pavements to Your Excellency as the way build, enduring road projects, and also cut down on our pressure on dollar. And we employ more people, we develop more cement factories in Nigeria.
The minister inspected the 42 kilometers Abeokuta-Ajibo road, where he said 10 kilometers out of the road will be dualized with drainage on both sides. He also inspected Section 2 of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway from Shagamu Interchange to Ojo-Ibadan area in Abeokuta. Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The United Nations Under-Secretary General for the Counter-terrorism, Vladimir Voronkov, has commended Nigeria's ongoing fight against terrorism in the sub-region. The visiting UN envoy gave the commendation while on a working visit to the office of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja in Abuja. The Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Nigeria continues to play a leading role in the fight against terrorism in the sub-region through the multinational Joint Task Force. The counter-terrorism campaign is about to assume a new dimension. The United Nations Under-Secretary General for Counter-terrorism is in Nigeria to forge closer ties with the military to further upskill the fight against terrorism in Nigeria and the sub-region.
We need to use this good experience of Nigeria for, the whole globe. And there are many countries which are interested to have this successful experience of fighting terrorism of Nigeria.
The idea of the United Nations Office for Counter-terrorism serving to disseminate our experience is welcome, and we also believe that we need to share from the experience of other countries and other players in the field, so that we can improve on what we do in our country and even our engagements with other regional partners in the joint intergovernmental and multinational environment.
The army chief also met with defense attaches and advisors from 27 countries in a view to share ideas and collectively tackle emerging challenges.
I appreciate the pledge of the defense attaché Sierra Leone, and we look forward to fruitful engagement with all other countries to deny the criminal elements and dissident groups from incubating their nefarious activities abroad and bringing them home perpetrates.
Nigeria is desirous to see the impact of this collaboration. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The National Defense College Officers' Wives Association has distributed food items to more than 200 households in Pure community in Abuja. The gesture is part of National Defense College Officers' Wives Association's civil-military relations efforts aimed at supporting their host communities and building a viable working relation.
Military person is in a civil environment. They see them as threats to them. So this outreach is just to make the people of Pure community know who the National Defense College are, know who we are, and then to reach out to them and to let them know that we can actually coexist together in peace.
I feel very excited and we are happy, and God will bless the organization. We are very, very happy. Indeed, we are happy.
I'm very appreciate them. May God provide more for them in Jesus' name. Their pocket never dry in Jesus' name.
Is also part of activities marking the graduation of NDC course. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, has commended the Federal Fire Service for its proactive effort in containing fire outbreak and other forms of disasters across the country. The minister gave the agency a pass mark during a familiarization visit to the service headquarters, where he inspected some firefighting hardwares and other equipment. He expressed satisfaction with the agency's alertness to distress calls and emergency situation, and promised to carry out assessment that will improve operations and welfare of officers and men.
These are too integral to be infinitesimal. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing for this nation. We are proud of your service. We are grateful for what you are doing. We are indebted for your service. The president has given a marching order. He's a man that will not take an excuse. He's not going to accept excuses. So I plead with you on this journey of resuscitation, on this journey of renewed hope, partner with us. Let's work together. Let's show what the Nigerian spirit is about.
As a service, I would like to pledge our unalloyed loyalty to your office and work together to achieve your set out promises to Nigeria, particularly in the area of fire and other related emergencies.
The General appreciates the visit and pledged more commitment to professionalism through training of personnel in line with global best practices. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is in Owerri, Imo State capital, for the grand finale of the 2023 Imo Women August meeting, currently ongoing. The First Lady, who is the special guest of honor at the meeting, was given a rousing welcome by the women in the state, led by wife of the state governor, Choma Uzodimma. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that this is the first state visit by the First Lady, who is also the national chairman of the Renewed Hope Initiative. August meeting of Igbo women has over the years evolved from being an annual convergence of the Umuanyi into a potent rallying point for empowerment and development for women in southeastern part of Nigeria. This year's edition of the meeting will serve as a vehicle to empower more women, with 500 indigent widows and elderly set to get 50,000 naira cash gifts, together with wrappers and other food items from the Renewed Hope Initiative. Let's look at the environment. When we put our spotlight on Yobe State, where all hope is not lost, we hear, in efforts to combat desertification, a major environmental challenge threatening the survival of many communities in the state. To this end, agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes, a federal government project funded by the World Bank, is renewing the hope of the state in combating the menace head-on. Yunusa Suleiman will tell us more about it.
State located in the northeastern part of Nigeria, over the years faced serious environmental challenges, notably desertification, which is encroaching at an alarming speed. Agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes, ACRISAL, a World Bank-assisted project, was born to reverse the trend in states like Yobe, considered as one of the frontline states in the country.
This intervention project by the World Bank is expected to convert places such as this into a green land in the next 6 years.
The means to do this is to venture into what we call sandom stabilization. And we are going to do this in batch by batch.
And to achieve this, the Yobe State Coordination Office of the project takes its advocacy campaign to the 17 local government areas and 14 emirate councils of the state to seek stakeholder support for the successful implementation of the project.
This will bring a coordinated effort for success in this regard of the climatic degradation, which has resulted in negative ways in reduction of our agric efforts.
The $700 million project, ACRISAL, is to focus on 4 key areas, namely dryland management, community climate resilience, institutional strengthening and project management, as well as contingent emergency response. The project is expected to regreen 1 million hectares of degraded land across implementing states through the outlined multidimensional approach. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
All right, we want to expand that discourse. We have a guest joining us from Yobe via Zoom. Shehu Alhaji Mohammed, he's the project coordinator for the agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you so much for this very rare opportunity. I'm glad.
All right, I'm sure you're aware, going by plans to change the narrative of how desertification is threatening livelihoods. Yobe State is one of that. So tell us what is being put in place to address this challenge.
Thank you once again. By virtue of the structure of ACRISAL, starting from the World Bank, headed by the tax team leader Joy Ayenga Agne, and then the national coordinator in the first instance of Abdul Hamid Umar. The ACRISAL project is being chaired by Minister of Environment and co-chaired by Minister of Agriculture and Water Resources. The same structure is actually used here in the state, where the commissioners of Environment, Agriculture and Water Resources serve as chairman and co-chairman respectively. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, happened to be part of the forum chairman for all the 19 governors of Nigeria, and they played a very, very vital role. These and others will tell you that actually the narratives will be changed and success will be recorded as far as ACRISAL is concerned.
Okay, I like the synergy you've just painted between the relevant stakeholders. But the target from the report we saw is 1 million hectares of degraded land. How does the agency or the project, so to say, aims to achieve this stride? Because this is huge.
Thank you so much. The federal government of Nigeria earmarked 4 million hectares of land to be restored. Out of the 4 million hectares, they actually forwarding 1 million to Akrisal, which will be utilized by 19 states of Nigeria plus FCT. And here in Yobe State, out of the 1 million given to 19 states, we are banging our chest by the grace of God Almighty to restore 100,000 hectares. Bearing in mind, Yobe State happened to be one of the degraded areas in terms of deforestation, desertification, and a lot of things. We bordered Nigeria and Niger Republic with almost 303 kilometers. This border, you cannot see trees, you cannot see shrubs, you cannot see grasses. So it's actually a very vast land, very vast, dry, harsh land. We are committed to do that in collaboration with many, many agencies who actually played a very vital role hitherto. Ours is to augment what they have done and to make sure that all these areas are turned into green.
Okay, World Bank, I'm made to understand, is funding the project, but in the meantime, what short-term measures has been provided by for communities rather who have been affected directly by this desertification?
Thank you once again. What we do, we venture into advocacy visits to areas affected, and as we are going, we went together with commissioners, for the Minister of Agriculture, Water Resources, Environment, Local Government, Women Affairs, and as we actually paid advocacy to them, they took us round to the communities, and where we normally visited, you can see exactly right away that the condition of situation is pathetic, and the people are ready and willing to see the change.
Indeed, and let's hope that change is very effective and as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Mr. Shehu Mohammed. He's the project coordinator for agro-climatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes. Thank you for your time on the news.
I am most pleased.
Our pleasure. And still talking about the environment, today is World Rangers Day, a day set aside to commemorate rangers killed or maimed in the line of duty. While they are saddled with the task of conserving wildlife and biodiversity, there is equally the urgent need to safeguard their lives and enhance their efficiency. Charles Alpha tells us more from the National Park Service, where this year's event was celebrated.
Security of parks and wildlife in most parts of the world is left in the hands of those referred to as rangers or park rangers. While they guard the forests, the security of their lives leave more to be desired. In Nigeria, 70 rangers have been killed between 1985 and 2023 by bandits, illegal miners, and even by the wildlife they protect.
We are crying because of lack of manpower, lack of modern equipment.
This year's World Rangers Day was meant to be celebrated on the original day, July 31, by the National Park Service, the Ministry of Environment and their partners, but was moved to the 31st of this month to honor some rangers who died in line of duty.
So they do a very important job, but a very dangerous job. And I call on the federal government to support the National Park Service to make sure that all rangers are properly armed and equipped and trained.
This year Commemoration Day further offers us the opportunity to enhance and reposition the capacity and efficiency of our rangers and determination to effectively police and protect 30% of our lands and water resources by 2030.
It's important to specifically note here that African Nature Investors has activated insurance cover for all 169 field park rangers in Gashaka-Gunti National Park.
Rangers, the natural solution to achieving the 30 by 30 biodiversity targets, was this year's focus. The National Park Service and Ministry of Environment used the day to offer consolations to the families of those who lost their lives in recent times. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
All right, we're crossing now to Lagos to join Adiola. She'll pick up with more reports from her end. Adiola.
Of October 2023, the iconic old terminal at the Murtala Mohammed Airport will cease to offer services to passengers navigating international routes as the 45-year-old building will undergo reconstruction. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, who gave the directive in Lagos, said this will give room for full utilization of the new terminal commissioned last year. Michael Olaleye reports that crucial among decisions taken were the suspension of a national carrier project and concessions.
Constructed in 1978 to handle 200,000 passengers, the old terminal at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport no doubt has fallen short of modern demand, put at 6.5 million as at 2022. Although an alternative has long been provided, with the new terminal offering passage to specific travel routes, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development believes full utilization will only materialize once the old terminal is shut for operations. This, no doubt, will assist the new terminal to hit its peak of handling 40 million passengers per annum. But what then will be the fate of wide-bodied aircraft, which inability to access the runway has been the clog in the wheel of maximizing the new terminal?
Just like it's done in so many countries, we are going to get buses, do some emergency procurement so that we can, in an orderly manner, board passengers and disembark passengers and also bring them to arrival and take them, through departure to the aircraft. Let us get it clear, we have not ordered any closure of anywhere. We just want to use the new terminal and find a new way by which we can board passengers, and of course passengers can disembark for processing.
While the federal government hopes to remodel the old terminal to meet global standards, the concession of some airports was also suspended alongside the Nigeria Air project. This, the minister said, is imperative to give room for auditing.
We have only suspended some things that people complain about. We must be very, very responsive to the feelings of Nigerians. Even if something is good, but is not transparent, because Nigerian people must know the processes by which you give out their commonwealth. Nobody owns all of this.
The minister also said the concentration on Lagos is to sustain its indispensable role to air transport in Nigeria, as the city alone accounts for 60% passengers traffic in the country. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
In a move to upscale over 1 million young Nigerians in the country's workspace through combating unemployment, especially among Nigerian youths, Jobberman, in partnership with MasterCard Foundation, has organized a roundtable talk to provide solution to unemployment amongst youth. Larry Belay has details.
Young Nigerians survive without a job. A pertinent question that researchers at Jobberman, a renowned platform that helps young unemployed Nigerians get employment, seeks to answer. This fact-checking journey revealed that 78% of the youth depend on family and friends to survive, while 84% spend the money that comes their way on food. The researchers also discovered that for survival sources among the unemployed in Nigeria, 48% are from hustles, 43% from family and friends, 16% from borrowing, and 5% on betting. The data you just heard are the insights. Now, what are the actions? That is, what are the solutions that can tackle this challenge?
We must set out to create jobs, and of course we must ensure that the government provides the required support. But if everyone is trained to wait for a job, if every young person who leaves a university is waiting to be employed, rather than to become an employer, then we're always going to have more people looking for jobs.
Look around you and think about what are my skills, what are my talents. Think about all the young people who are makeup artists, who have become chefs, who have become nannies. It's a very lucrative profession. You just have to divorce yourself of the idea that a white-collar job is what's a good fit for me.
People are not finding their desired opportunity in
in the white-collar space, they now tend to tag themselves as unemployed, all right, and then do other things to survive. Now, they call that survival, but is it really survival if it is contributing to the economy? Is it survival if you're making money out of it?
I think that there's so much that can be done by both private, public, and even non-governmental to look inwards as to what amongst their existing programs that supports the growth and development of young people.
Transitioning from unemployment to dignified jobs, analysts say, has significant gaps in data collation, and this distorts unemployment realities, which invariably hampers interventions. Issues surrounding unemployment duration, corresponding effect on lives, and labor market viability needs to be understood before intervention could be made. In Lagos, Lanre Bileyi, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos for now. Be reminded that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. Agatha in our Benin Network Center will give us the next set of reports after this time out. Do stay.
For staying on, you're now in Benin. The federal government has distributed items in the 2023 Special National Economic and Livelihood Emergency Intervention Program. It is for 2022 flood victims and the most vulnerable in Nigeria. Ogochukwuka Ona was at the flag-off of the exercise in Edo State.
The Special National Economic and Livelihood Emergency Intervention is to support the country's economic recovery process and drive sustainable growth in a long-term basis. Officials from the National Emergency Management Agency say it is in 3 phases and targets 18,644 beneficiaries in the state. The livelihood equipment are sewing and grinding machines, food items, beddings, while the agricultural inputs have pesticides, growth enhancers, water pump, and fertilizer.
Anybody that is duly registered with SLEEP will definitely collect whatever that they registered his or her name against.
The Edo State Emergency Management Office gives a backup to the initiative.
There are always places where you have the poorest of the poorest. Some may not be affected by flood, but some are hungry.
The beneficiaries are happy.
Let me say, tell the federal government, thank you very much for this sewing machine. I'll make use of it to buy more of it.
As they give me this one, I go they take this one, they find waiting, I go they eat.
A total of 660,884 households were verified and targeted to benefit from this special intervention across the country. They had to have food items and non-food items, livelihood equipment, and of course agricultural inputs like crop seedlings. And this is to stimulate crop production and of course value chain activities at the grassroots. In Benin, Ogochukwuka Ona, NTA News.
No fewer than 350 girls have been empowered by a wife of Ondo State Governor Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu, who trained them in various life-changing skills through her Be More Pet project. Ondo State Acting Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, while releasing the young girls into society, admonished them to make the best use of the skills acquired at this year's summer boot camp to impact others.
The Be More Summer Boot Camp, an initiative of the wife of the Ondo State Governor Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu, is aimed at empowering the girl child and women for self-reliance through vocational skills training and to promote gender equality. The wife of the state's governor, Betty Akeredolu, who addressed the Be More Boot Camp virtually, encouraged the girls to reach for their goals no matter the circumstances of life. She said over 3,000 young girls have been trained on various skills since inception 6 years ago.
The strides of ambassadors are living testimonies of what Be More has done and what Be More can do. Thus far, we have convincingly demonstrated the fact that educating the girl child is is not a waste.
The acting governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, who declared open the summer boot camp, advised Bimo girls to make good use of the opportunity given them by the Empowerment Skills Acquisition Training.
The training program will help unleash your energies and potentials, bringing out the best in you and fortify you to take a bold step about life.
The 2023 edition of the annual Bimo Summer Boot Camp will end on the 26th of August 2023 in Akure. Oluwakemi Aino, NTA News.
That's it here. Ruth continues nationwide in Abuja.
Thank you, Agatha. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have suggested increased budgetary allocations to the education sector in Nigeria in line with international benchmarks, which they say is the only panacea to reduce the high cost of service charges in universities. They believe with proper autonomy, universities can operate seamlessly while reducing the large number of students dropping out of school due to economic challenges. Lydia Sampson reports.
User charges in universities have escalated due to economic realities. Guests in Good Morning Nigeria believe, painful as it is, the university community is not operating in isolation.
It's the same all over with all federal institutions. We're owned by the government, as you're aware, and we get a subvention. However, that subvention is not enough to run the university. We all know that inflation has gone up everywhere.
But where we are going, in the next 1 or 2 years, if these fees or charges, whatever they call it, are allowed to remain, about 50% of our children, of our students, of our children will leave the system.
I think when we look at the conditions around this fee, it's totally clear that it is created to fail. Because how do we assess it? Let's even start from those that are going to be in charge of the money. Yeah.
The guests also suggested the introduction of structured payment spreading within timelines as obtained in other climes for ease of payment by students and parents whose salaries remain same while tackling the increased user charges.
We need to look at education as an investment instead of as an expense. When you want to develop human capital, you think of how you can be able to raise people that are going to also be part and parcel of the development of the nation.
We have to rethink the entire philosophy of university education. We have to rethink governance methodology of university education.
They are of the view that with government generating increased revenue from subsidy removal, universities should be given not just buffers but government intervention by increased funding. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Attacks on Nigerian university campuses by criminals have become a frequent occurrence. The recent attack on a female hostel in Rivers State University has thrown up issues of inadequate security in such high institution of learning. We'll bring you this background report by Emmanuel Lene.
An incident of robbery and molestation of students in a female hostel in the Rivers State University is one incident too many. Students lost valuables to the invaders and some were physically abused. Although the university has security personnel at the main gate and the smaller back gate, the hoodlums were able to escape after reportedly operating for some time. This has provoked a call by stakeholders for more stringent measures and synergy between the police and other security agencies within university campuses and other educational institutions across the state.
One way they can help, and that is involving, they have to have a synergy with the police and the security agency.
Security within the campuses need to undergo training and retraining. So they need to also increase the fences of the university campus.
The State Police Command is suing for cooperation from the public with the recent launch of Zero Crime Initiative to address crime.
The police cannot be everywhere at the same time. So information intelligence will be a responsibility for everyone
The Ministry of Education has also embarked on a tour of schools to identify security lapses that should be urgently attended to.
All right, we want to join our correspondent live now in Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri. He is going to pick up this conversation with a security expert talking about security, not just in secondary schools, but also higher institutions. So Kingsley, please go ahead.
Well, security across the educational institutions here in Rivers State has also become a concern for relevant stakeholders, from the security agencies to the government and also the populace. The latest incident that occurred at the Rivers State University brought to the fore the need to tighten security across the educational institutions in the state, especially now that schools will be reopening, schools talking about the primary and secondary education. And also recall that the State University has also established various campuses across the various senatorial districts in the state. Meaningful, relevant stakeholders are calling on the authorities also to tighten security at these locations, while the Rivers State Police Command has called for vigilance and also issued some security lines for emergency response. The concern also there is the timely response when these calls arises is also a concern to authorities. I have here an analyst, a security analyst, Pius Duko, who will bear his mind on the issue of security with respect to the latest incident in Rivers State. Mr. Pius, how do you react to this latest incident, especially at a time that the police authorities are also setting up special protection squads for our educational institutions in the country?
Yeah, very importantly, I think this issue is very germane. We have earlier condemned the rape, the stealing, and the breaking into Hostel T at the Rivers State University. And I think I want to appraise what the governor did, especially as the governor have gone there to look a sightseeing and look at how they can change the status quo. But one thing that is very paramount is that I think that the police authorities should think of how to recover those items that were stolen. They should find a way, use detectives. In those days, we used to see plainclothes detectives everywhere. And before you know, they go into the villages, go into the communities, and recover the stolen properties. Because those boys will go out and think of how to sell those properties. They will think of how to give to other people. So I think it's very important that they recover them. Secondly, let the school authority also swing into action by looking at how they can secure not only one hostel, all the hostels, because it's very important. And the police that are bringing new numbers so that they can call and make very important so that they can arrest any situation for future occurrence.
My last question for you, you talked about the police authorities. The timely response is key in this regard. How do we engage security authorities for prompt response when this cause comes?
Yeah, very important, they should bring their numbers out. They should station at strategic positions so that in case there is any distress call, you can use that a few minutes to reach the place. And then, very importantly, they should use undercover agents. I have said that many times. It's not every time police should be in their uniform. In those days, police will be in community. You won't know that it's a policeman. He can say that for 5 years. He can say that for 3 years. But nowadays, police is strolling every time people know them and police. You don't need to show people that you're a police officer.
All right, we quite appreciate your thought, Mr. Pius Duko, and also for the students from what the police authorities and the NSCDC have also said, they also need to be vigilant and also ensure they timely call these numbers for prompt response. Thank you. This is Sid from Port Harcourt end here. We'll be joining you back in the studios for the continuation of the nationwide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kingsley, for that update. Security is everybody's business. And we turn to women's issue now. There's no challenge that cannot be surmounted. if there is a strong will and determination to break the barriers limiting women. This is the consensus at the She for Africa Summit held in Abuja. Momso Damian Dati will tell us about it.
From different African countries, organizations and groups, these women are gathered here to share experiences, form synergies and explore better ways to promote the cause of women in Africa.
Our problems as African women common. So the earlier we come together to provide solutions to this problem, the better for us.
I was appointed a deputy minister at the age of 28. I'm now 32. We're given the key and we know that we have to be in this place.
Challenge your limits is the focus here.
We're not tired because for every year we have a conversation on something, the dynamics change, things evolve, new narratives emerge. So if we don't have these conversations and renew the priorities, it's difficult to prefer solutions that are relevant.
The male folk are also involved to enable them understand and support the perspectives of women.
What does it mean? How do we look at ourselves? And is the image we have as ourselves of men one that is a positive one about how we treat women?
There's nothing that a man can do politically, democratically, socially, that a woman cannot even do better. Any man who stops a woman from achieving a goal is actually an enemy of the society.
Complementing each other is the way to go. They all agree. Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
Maiduguri will be our next stop, and Ladidi is set to take us on for more reports.
Welcome to Maiduguri. Good to have you join us. 42,147 female students across Borno State are to benefit from a financial incentive of 614,350,000 naira for learners of junior and senior classes to complete first and second term sessions, an initiative of Borno State Ministry of Education through Adolescents Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, Agile, supported by the World Bank. The idea is in continuation of disbursement of funds to ensure transition and retention of the girl child in school towards acquiring secondary education. Abubakar Musa reports.
Thank you, Agile, for this support. We are going to make the best use of it.
Zara Umar Kashim is one of the beneficiaries for the continuation of disbursement of financial incentive by the Borno State Ministry of Education through Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, describing how the intervention will help her to pursue her academic career. Presenting dummy checks and ATM cards to the students, Governor Babagana Umara, represented by Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Lawan Abo Kilbe, said 10,000 naira will be given to the junior students each, while the senior ones will receive 15,000 naira for completion of first cycle of first and second cohort.
It's actually targeting 50,000 girls. And some of the components include creation of learning spaces and support of vulnerable girls.
State Project Coordinator Agile Ibrahim Baba recalled when the program was flagged off in the state and how it has turned around the secondary system of education.
Majority of girls here, they don't used to go to school, but by giving them these incentives and providing them learning space and also giving them training on digital literacy and life skills, now they have already been encouraged.
There were various presentations on the purpose of using conditional cash transfer by representative of Superb, while Aisha Indimi spoke extensively on the overall essence of girl-child education. Chairman, Konduga Local Government and other stakeholders acknowledged the foresight of Agile since its creation, especially the high premium it has continued to place on girl-child education. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
The need for the revival of Kanuri Ajmin, which means written Kanuri words in form of Arabic language, was the subject of discussion at stakeholders' engagement, challenging the young generations to study Kanuri Ajmin toward promoting it in the society. This was during a workshop organized by the Center of Kanuri Ajmin and Quranic Studies of the Borno State University, attended by top Kanuri linguistic and Islamic scholars in Borno. Yaroye Umar reports.
The one-day sensitization workshop on Kanuri Ajami, which has as its theme the importance of Kanuri Ajami studies, was attended by Islamic scholars, staff and students of the center. Vice Chancellor, Borno State University, Professor Kyari Sandavi, explained that the essence of establishing the center is to promote the Kanuri Ajami as well as enhance communication gap between the scholars in assessing fellow scholars towards giving them certificates and incorporate them in civil service. Director, Center for Ajami and Quranic Studies, Borno State University, Dr. Mustafa Mohammed Ali said, the existence of the center will no doubt promote the Kanuri Ajami in writing and reading globally. In their papers titled The Origin and Development of Sangha System of Education in Borno by Maimodu Mutte of the University of Maiduguri and The Origin and Development of Kanuri Forms of Writing by Dr. Tahir Abba of the Department of Linguistics and Foreign Language by University Kano, including importance of Kanuri Ajami studies by Yagana Bukar, who dwell extensively on the need to bring back the lost glory of Kanuri Ajami, emphasize the importance of Sangha system of education. Commissioner for Religious Affairs Babagana Malarima, represented by the Director Planning of the Ministry, Aliu Dauda, called on youths to embrace the use and writing of Kanuri Ajami to promote Kanuri language and assured support to the center. Islamic scholars and dignitaries at the occasion were of the opinion that reintroduction of Kanuri language in school curriculum and use of Kanuri Ajami will go a long way in making the language more acceptable. In Maiduguri, Yarwaya Umar, NTA News.
That does it from here. Nationwide continues with Roots in Abuja after this timeout. Don't go away.
President Bola Tinubu has tasked the United Nations to be more practical in supporting Nigeria in the fight against terrorism, in view of the rippling effect on global peace, displacements of people, and rising poverty. In an audience with the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations Office on Counter-terrorism, Mr. Vladimir Voronkov, at the State House, President Tinubu noted that terrorism had consistently reversed the gains on development and increased instability in families and communities, but that UN cooperation in dealing with it had always been inconsistent in the developing world. The president, going forward, said global peace and prosperity would demand the swift and comprehensive provision of the right answers to the challenge posed by insurgencies in parts of the world, which threatens universal stability. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Tugar, said he had highlighted some of the conditions that promote insurgency like poverty and injustice with the UN team, while noting the Nigerian government's response. Mr. Voronkov told the president that the UN was planning a counter-terrorism summit in Abuja slated for April 2024, and it would be largely driven by African nations with an African agenda. And that's Nationwide. We do appreciate your company. Do have a beautiful evening. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.